Hey guys, this is Laura Kate. Hey, I had a word about cultures that's related to government institutions. Um, we're pretty free spirited here in the US and we're pretty customer eccentric. I see that demonstrated through a lot of platforms, and the customers' wish lists are filled. And, in customer service, the more you pay, the more customer service you get. Restaurants are pretty detailed into taking custom orders. Starbucks is like, hey, we will make your custom order. If we don't make it right, we'll make it again. I mean, that's kind of the American way culture. That is not the way our government works whatsoever. So I wanted to share a story about France, and I really like France. This is just a story. I was out. I think I had learned a couple words in French, and I was 18, and so I was out. I believe I was out by one of the castles, and I was having lunch, and I'd ordered a crepe, and I didn't want cheese on it because I have a dairy allergy, and so even though the food quality is so high and so great, it's like almost all organic over in France without it being labeled organic. GMO free. They don't permit GMOs in our country. I don't like a lot of cheese or a lot of dairy because I don't feel good on it. And so I had placed this order, and I placed the crepe order, and it was like a crepe and like cheese and something else. And so I said the order to the waiter. He was very nice. And I said, I read out the description of what it was, and I said sans fromage, and it means without cheese. It's like the I know parlez-vous anglais. Do you speak English? And sans fromage. I learned two phrases, um, and anyway, if that tells you anything. So he said, oh yes, 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 yes. And he understood what I was saying. And so about, half an hour later, 20 minutes later, my order comes out, and this crepe is like smothered in cheese, like this white cheese. And I was like, "Oh, I ordered this without cheese." And he looks at me, he said, "We don't change the orders." I was like, "Oh my goodness, like like he didn't address it when I asked for it, and then it was when it was delivered that he made his statement. And I just want to say that our government tends to work that way in that I don't necessarily see. I mean, I'm not going to go into democracy or whatever like that, but there's certain ways that things are set up. And I was seeing a picture this morning in the spirit of a door being closed off, and it shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been. And it was just sort of this guy had like that was closing it off. He looked terrible. He was overweight. He had one of his t-shirt, white shirt, instead of tucked in, one of the little the ends was out, and he had toilet paper hanging from his pants, and he just looked totally deranged. But yet he had this government position, and he was closing off these doors, and everyone was just watching like asshole, right? Like, I mean, not even that, but like, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. But yet, it was maybe a government code or regulation or structure hierarchy, whatever it was, that was allowing this situation to happen. And so it's written on the menu, Laura. This is written on the menu. There's no way to change it. It's written on the menu. And so I just want to say life doesn't work that way. And that our government, I mean, I'm not going to go there, but I'm just saying there's some things that legally our government does that is not correct in the law, but yet it's allowed in government institutions because that's the way they've always done it. That's the hierarchical structure. It's like that. So sometimes our government entities actually take the wrong approach. And it could be proved legally, but yet because they're not connected to the law, they're connected to the government. They don't often follow the Constitution or the law. And so that has to come from another angle to defeat, I wouldn't say the bastard. You have to come with an angle of law and just point it out. Unusual to other societies, right? Unusual to other platforms that are in America. Our government structure works kind of like France. You ask for sans fromage, they bring you to you slathered in cheese because that's the way they do it. There's no changes, no change orders, but it's all based on, it's all based on the hierarchy, the status. Like we're more important than you, and so Anyway, just wanted to bring that out there that we often have to combat our US government and government entities with the law to bring balance. And I've seen that, I know, when I worked for, I just know that's how we bring balance in within our institutions and why we have the Supreme Court, right? And so we actually have to fight that. We shouldn't have to do that, but sometimes they have jams in our government that they're just going in a circle of what they have written and what they, and it doesn't legally make any sense. It's just that's how they do it, or that's how they have it set up. Sometimes again we have to come up with a law to actually present, hey, this isn't legally correct, you're not actually under following the Constitution, we've got to do it this way in order to proceed forward. And so, and you know, humanitarian rights, all that kind of stuff. So we so often have to balance these government institutions within our country with the law, and that actually provides the right, correct means. But that doesn't happen within our business structures on a normal basis because we're so customer centric, really looking at how to please the customer, based on, you know, really the way that we buy and the way that we market and the way that the expected customer puts down dollars. So dollars, you know, count your votes and all that. So we really have that exchange system going on equally in our marketplace, but not in our government institution. And so that's where we really have to bring in the law, and to balance that out. Okay, guys, Laura Kate, let's make sure there aren't bastards running programs in our government and taking over. Oh my goodness, the little vision I had this morning, I was like, oh, good luck, good Lord. Okay, it's Laura Kate.